Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from the Bhakti Center in New York, it's Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York. I just said that. Kaustubha Das, welcome to the show. Not Kaustubha, welcome to the show. Everybody, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Kaustubha, welcome back. Kaustubha took a little hiatus, and he's back stronger than ever, focused, drilling into my nonsense, cutting away my illusions. Happy you're here, Prabhu. Glad you're back.
Thank you.
It's nice to be at the Bhakti Center. I'm here live with Bunky. Bunky's going away. I'm sending him to Uncle Tukaram for a couple months.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's see how much he changes when he comes back.
Oh, he's going to come back a new man. You know what I've realized? I can't correct people. It's not good.
You mean you're not good at it?
No,
or you don't have the qualification
my
to do it?
way to relate to newer devotees is just be their friend.
Okay.
I'm not like one of these, like your guru was. He would just correct and cut and cut away illusion.
What you're talking about, I get it. So you're saying Tukaram can do that.
Tukaram can do that. He can cut it. You know what he is? For suppose there's a car accident. I'm the guy who runs over there with like a spray bottle. Are you okay? What do you need? You need a
spray bottle.
I don't know. Not a spray bottle. Maybe I don't know. What would I run over there with? Like a towel? Are you okay? What can I get you? Something like that. Whereas Tukaram actually goes in with like a scalpel and takes like shreds of glass out of takes like shreds of glass out of your heart. You know what I mean? He's good at that, but it comes with a price. You got to puncture and cut.
It hurts.
I can't do that. It hurts.
You know, but that's exactly the same. I don't know if you caught on to this, Raghunath, but I'm going to blow your mind right now.
Hit me.
Because what you're doing for Bunky right now is exactly what your guru did for you. By sending you to my guru.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same thing, right?
And your guru, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he used to travel around in a bus with Vishnu John Swami. Mm-hmm. They said the two of them were like chutney. So sweet, you can't resist it. That was Vishnu John Swami. He was just so sweet and a beautiful voice. He would just sit down on a college campus and start singing. You can YouTube search Vishnu John, like Jana, Swami. And he's got these. He was one of these incredible musicians, could play anything. Matter of fact, your guru told me he found an old piano, put it on his wall, and played it like a harp. He was just
I so
gifted.
much wish I could have met him. You know,
he died at a young age, but everybody loved him.
Story. We won't.
It's a whole story. We're going to save you that story. It's a whole mysterious story.
But he was. You know, I was thinking about this.
Should we tell the story?
Well. Let me tell this first, and then we can decide whether we want to tell that story. We're going off on a tangent here, but it might be a fruitful
Welcome to Squirrel World!
Okay. Because my wife shared something with me yesterday, which is great. She just listens to lectures like every day, you know?
Your wife.
Yeah, and especially Raghunath Swami's lectures. And then she came and shared with me yesterday.
Yes.
Something that she had just heard, where Raghunath Swami was saying that as we go through life in this world, you know, we get our trust gets shattered in different ways due to the relationships that we're in, right?
Yeah.
It can come early.
I don't trust anybody.
Okay. So,
That's
there's
just
going to
Mara.
be the close relationships, loving relationships that we've had that fall apart, people that we've trusted, friendships, and so on. And it's a heavy burden. It kind of it scars one, and it and it makes it difficult for someone. Well, that very experience, that kind of disappointment in life, can lead to a spiritual search. But it commonly, when one gets to that spiritual search, if they're carrying those same scars, then they're looking for spirituality in an impersonal way.
That's why they're called samskaras.
So I like that.
You like that? Some
never,
scar.
in all these years,
scar on
the
the consciousness.
I've never picked up on that. Some scars.
Could be. I would like to. You know what? We got to get
Some
Panditji on the
scars.
show and figure out what skara means.
Skara.
I bet it could mean a scar.
I
Could be
doubt
a-
it, but there may be some connection. There could be.
I doubt it, or maybe I don't doubt it, because we shouldn't doubt everything. We should just.
So this is a point. But the point that he was making is that to deeply advance in spiritual life, you're going to need to place your trust in someone. You need to there needs to be a person that you have this kind of wholehearted trust in. And that's a bit of a scary topic,
Scary.
because we do see that kind of trust, particularly within spiritual circles, is commonly broken, and so that can really turn people off. But this is the way he, but rather than speak of it just in a way like, so you all need to do this, the way that he the lesson that he ultimately concluded with in regards, and I bring that up in terms of what you're saying, like you take someone like Vishnu Jan Swami, right?
Yeah.
What an amazing, there's a great book of it. What's that book called that's about him and Jayananda that was written by, his name's slipping my mind right now.
Mara reads.
But by the famous kirtan singer Vyasaki. Vyasaki wrote a book,
Oh yeah.
right, about Vishnu Jan Swami.
Yeah.
And when he was, how long did he practice bhakti? He got into it in
Probably not that
67.
long.
He got
8
into it in
years,
67,
maybe?
and I think he passed away in 75.
He was like a urban legend. Everybody still talks about him.
Not urban legend, a legend, right? Like
That's what I meant, a legend. Did
Yeah.
I say urban legend? What's an urban legend? Is that like a bad thing?
well, the urban legend is like something that's not true or something like that, right?
Okay.
Is that right, Mara?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, but there was something about, when you read about his character, and there's in that book about him, it just has, maybe you could try to figure out the title of that book now that I brought
I
up
think it's
Mary.
called Radha Damodar Vilas, maybe?
That's right. It's called Rama Damodar
I found
Vilas.
it at the Super Soul Library once and read it.
Right.
I
It was in the
loved
Super Soul Library.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Welcome
a
to
great-
the library of books I never read.
It might not be an easy book to find, but
I think it's out of print.
but
Let's go on with
it-
the story.
it consists a lot of testimonies of people that knew him.
Mm.
And you're hearing dozens and dozens and dozens of testimonies about this one person who you could just see, like, there was something about his heart that just really touched people, and the way that he cared about people, and just his kind of full-hearted devotion, the way he sang was a very big part of who he was. But the way that he cared for people really made a difference in people's lives. And this is the reason why I'm bringing it up, is because in relation to what Raghunath Swami says, if you want to go deep into spirituality, particularly if you want to go deep into bhakti, you have to it requires a faith in an individual, and a faith in that's the way that we see it's handed, is from one heart to another. And in order to receive it, you really have to open up. But you take someone like Vishnu Jan Swami, who again wasn't like, he's not one of these like people that grew up in the tradition and was an old man and was just full of he's not like the stereotypical kind of guru figure.
There's a young, beautiful,
Yeah.
Sannyasi. American.
Yeah, I don't know if hippie's the right word, but like just before, but he just accepted it. So, and obviously from his previous life, he was something special.
Yeah.
But
That's another thing we can't,
Yeah.
overlook, that people come into bhakti with a whole set of luggage from previous life, be it positive luggage, like they were evolved beings, or they were criminals, or something in between that.
Yeah. And Prabhupada said that Vishnu Jan Swami and my guru, he said, and I guess this is kind of an Indian term, but he said, you were cousin brothers in the previous life.
Ooh, maybe you and I were cousin brothers.
Cousin brothers.
Maybe we're cousin brothers.
I don't know exactly what a cousin brother is.
A cousin brother's a cousin.
It's a cousin.
It's a cousin.
But a close
But they call
cousin.
each other in India. They'll say he's my brother, but he's actually a cousin.
Right. Cousin brothers.
So
So
they grew up in the same household.
Oh, right.
You know, you have
right.
you have
So it's
multiple
like a
adults
brother.
living in a household.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
much easier instead of
like the Rubble
hiring
family.
nannies who don't even care.
Yeah,
What do we
because
do? Why
everyone-
we've done everything
We screwed
wrong.
up the whole world.
We've screwed up everything.
everything,
We don't
yeah.
live with our. I mean, I just saw my brothers and sisters for my mom's 95th birthday yesterday.
Mhm.
I haven't seen them since last Christmas. No, and we skipped Christmas because of the pandemic. I haven't seen like most of them in 2 years.
Yeah. it can
We've
be
just
like
like isolated ourselves, and then we're like hiring outsiders who don't love our children to watch our children.
that. Because we're getting jobs that are far away from us because we created cars. So now, because we got
Yeah.
to make life more convenient, but now we just have to get in the cars and drive for hours to work far. Anyway, we could go
Anyway,
on. and on.
let's.
Yeah,
The point is
back to the point.
doubting.
Vishnu John, huh?
Vishnu
Vishnu John Swami was such a special person, and this connection, you have to open your heart. Look at, I'm going to name 3 very powerful, influential bhakti yogis today who when they first began practicing bhakti, they were just so influenced by Vishnu John Swami that he touched their hearts and opened them up in a powerful way. One of them was Indra Prabhu, right?
Oh yeah, famous kirtan singer, 24-hour
Famous
kirtan.
kirtan singer himself, who to this day, the power of his kirtan, it's global effects.
Changed the world.
Change the
for
world.
sure.
And just like, the intensity of his bhakti was just something rare and special, and other people started to follow and open up their hearts to him in the same way. That's how bhakti works.
Your point is the flame
Next
is
person.
lighting another flame.
Yeah, next
Okay.
person.
Yeah.
Next person would be Indradyumna Swami.
Indra
Also,
Swami, touching the souls of thousands of people, tens of thousands of people around the world.
in
Ways.
a different way than Indra, different personality, but similar in the depth of his bhakti and how he spreads it throughout the world. Like
There
he's
should
just
be
this
like an Instagram
adventurer.
just for bhakti. Wouldn't that be cool? I'd be like, Indra Swami would be like a big influencer,
He is. And so
Yeah, I guess
just
he is anyway.
a beautiful man that just puts on bhakti festivals all over. He's an incredible adventurer and so on. And the third one is Dinabandhu Prabhu,
Love him.
right? Another, like, he's perhaps the world's greatest storyteller, and he tells Krishna Leela in Vrindavan like no one else. It's- and so all of these people and many more can trace the real birth of bhakti in their heart, or at least the development has so much to do with opening their heart and placing their trust and their admiration in this figure, Vishnu John Swami. And we see it like that. Like I see in you, because you've opened your heart to certain people in a certain way, bhakti's been, your heart has been infused with bhakti. You look at Janavi, she had very special parents. She also had an intimate relationship with Yamuna Devi.
Right.
And those are life-changing things. So if we want to practice bhakti and go deep into it, go deep into spiritual life, it means we do have to kind of place trust in, place deep trust and really connect in a very real way with very deep faith with another human being.
You know what, my friend? I think you squirreled. This is a great point you're making, but it's off the original point. The original point was John Swami is very soft and your guru is very chopping.
Yeah.
And they both had a
suppose.
similar effect. They lit people up, but in different ways. And then we were saying, I'm sending Bunky off to Tukaram, who's
Right.
very chopping, and I'm sort of just very friendly, but they work nice together. And then I compared it to chutney. Chutney
I'm
is
with
so
you.
sweet that you can't resist it.
Mhm.
And so spicy,
That's
you
you.
can't
That would
tolerate
be
it.
you then, right?
Yeah, I'm so sweet, you can't resist me.
Okay.
And so, but together, that mixed together is very powerful. And
Right.
so, yes, so that's how this whole thing started. I said, I can't correct people very well.
You can't correct
And that's
Bunky.
part of like sort of growing, in spiritual
It
life.
is.
You want correction.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah, your guru, and we tell funny stories of your guru correcting me, like chopping me, like, but it's all done with love, and you grow
It
from
was.
it. It's wonderful. Raghunath Swami's never corrected me like that. And when he does, he just doesn't, I say something stupid and he doesn't respond to me and he looks off in space like that. And I was like, ooh, that hurt. That's how he corrects. He just like That you shouldn't have said that. What were you thinking about saying? Why did you say that? He didn't say that. Your guru would have just like chopped. What are you talking to your guru like that? What are you thinking, Bhakti Ray? You know, I would have just cut me down like that. So anyway, the point is we need correction for our growth.
I'll never forget the day where I had you, Radha Swami, Genevieve, I think Vera, and maybe Jagir Dari all over my place for pizza, and I was cooking the pizza. Yeah. And you were telling the stories of my guru and him chastising you, and we were all just laughing.
I got to write a book about they're all funny.
Yeah. All right.
The best one was when I served out the pizza party.
That's
for like seven swamis. I could not get the pizza off the tray, and I had a wooden spatula. And your guru was like sort of the chief of all the gurus, and he was like I was reasonably new devotee, like a year maybe, not initiated. And he said, Bhakti Ray, you know, we did all the other swamis. Bhakti Ray is serving out. Nobody eat the pizza until Bhakti Ray has served out everybody. And I was like, ugh. And I could not get the pizza off the tray for one swami. And and he's like, Bhakti Ray, aren't you cultured? Why are you using a wooden spatula to get a pizza? Go in the kitchen and get a real spatula. So I run in, I get another wooden thing. He's like, no, Bhakti Ray, go back in the kitchen, get an appropriate spatula. I finally get into it. And then he looks at all the other swamis, and remember, no one touch their pizza until Bhakti Ray has served out Romapad Swami. And finally, I got this metal spatula, and boom, and I flipped this pizza. It was like it happened in slow motion. The pizza started flying up in the air and spinning. I kid you not. And it landed face down right in front of the swami. Shot sauce all over this other swami. Bravo. And you could have heard a pin drop. And I was like a doe in the headlights of a Mack truck. And your guru just stood up and goes, no devotion. You have no devotion. Get out of here. Oh my God. I could have crawled in a mouse hole. and he looks at Gunagai Maharaj and says, Gunagai Maharaj, take over Bhakti Ray's job serving pizza. He has lost his position as the servant. Oh. And I was like, oh my God.
Lost my position as the servant.
I was like, you can't fire me. This is a volunteer job. But there's like a thick, at least a small soft cover book about all my chastisements from Tamal Krishna Maharaj.
Well, the funniest one, we won't get into it now. Maybe hold it for another time. That telephone call one.
Oh man, I thought you were going to say the rap song. When they made me rap.
Oh my God.
Anyway, I don't know how we got on this subject, but I think it was we're sending Bunky to California while I go on a tour of Europe, I guess. And he's going to come back a whole new man, standing up tall. Hare Krishna, Raghunath Prabhu.
Oh, Paka.
Please accept my obeisances. Yeah, me and Kaustubha have this new hashtag. It's called Paka or Puggle. Puggle means crazy. Paka means like very like zipped up, put together. And sometimes you meet somebody who's new to Bhakti and they're Paka. They're like really zipped up. Like, how did that guy get zipped up so quick?
Maybe they're a little bit crazy.
So we say Paka or Puggle.
It's a fine line.
Sometimes. It's a fine line. You know, I'm looking around here. Lady Di, Leslie Bente, they're very Paka. Yeah, or Puggle. We haven't quite figured that out yet. You can ask yourself that question today. Let's start the Bhagavatam, Kaustubha. You are dragging us down today. Sorry. Keep it high.
Sorry about that.
That's what happens when you go away from the Bhagavatam for 2 days, Kaustubha.
I know.
You become a squirrel chaser yourself. I have to keep you on track. Okay. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of our conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the transcendental Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual masters, my teachers, are opening my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter.
You can do it, Raghu.
I don't know. This is where Mara's supposed to butt in and say, it's
Chapter
right.
27, text 6.
Chapter 27, text 6.
And
What
I have a
episode,
suggestion.
Mara?
575.
575.
Pretty cool.
That's cool.
It is cool. 575 episodes. Yeah, it's very cool. Probably one of the coolest things I've done in my life.
Okay.
575 episodes of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam has saved my life. I had the most rocky road this year ever. My whole life's been shifting and changing and falling apart and reversals and sinkholes and glue traps. My whole year's been like, if it wasn't for the Bhagavatam, I don't know where I'd be this year.
All right. That's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's very cool. Text 6.
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
Let's read text 6 through text 10, and then we
Straight?
can go back and discuss them in more detail.
Okay.
But let me preface it with this. What we're about to hear, Raghunath,
Yeah.
is a nice, clear presentation of how yoga works or how spirituality works, right? Whereas spirituality or yoga, it involves meditation on an object.
Right.
There has to be an object of one's meditation. But to enhance isn't the word I'm looking for, but to facilitate the absorption, the depth of that meditation,
Right.
then there has to be a certain lifestyle that goes along with it. If we don't follow certain principles in our lifestyle, our habits, and so on, then it's most likely that our mind will be distracted in so many ways. So to practice yoga, which is difficult work, it's difficult to focus the mind on any particular object. So whenever it's just like going to a doctor, right? Like you go to a doctor, you're sick, they'll prescribe a particular medicine. But along with the medicine, they're also going to give like a diet, and they're also going to say, well, you need to get rest. Otherwise the medicine doesn't matter, right? Like if you could take this medicine, but if you just eat anything, then the effect of the medicine will be greatly reduced. Its ability to help you get to where you need to go will be greatly reduced. So you need both at the same time. So within these verses, the first verse, text 6, we just heard in the previous verse that the answer to how to break out of the matrix was Bhakti Yoga practice with intensity. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, right?
Yeah.
Remember we were discussing that last week?
Yep.
So now we're going to hear about that practice and how it's done. The first thing we're going to hear about is here's what you need to meditate on. And then we're going to hear a bunch of verses that are going to give the lifestyle, the background, the practices that go with it so that meditation become deeply absorbed and therefore transformational. All right? So the power will flow through that meditation so that when you connect with that object of the meditation, which is full of spiritual potency, it's not like it's coming through some weak conductor that's just like not connected strong. Like we got these these microphones. They're such good microphones, but somehow when they design them, it's the really
cords
weak
fall
connection.
out all the time.
The cord is like in there so weak. So if we just tap these things, it's like that mic shifts off. So we need a strong connection. A distracted mind is like a weak cable, right?
Yeah.
So the mind has to be deeply absorbed. So we're going to get the focus of meditation, what to meditate on, and then we're going to get like the lifestyle that goes with it. Hit it.
Hit it? Okay.
Yeah.
One has to become faithful by practicing the controlling process of the yoga system and must elevate himself to the platform of unalloyed devotional service by chanting and hearing about me.
Okay, boom. There was the object of the meditation, right?
Oh, yeah.
Chanting and hearing about me.
You know how this whole conversation started, Kaustubha? You were saying you need somebody in your life that has touched your heart.
Okay.
You need someone you can place a little faith in to bring you to this level. Like, for example, a lot of people won't even read this book, but somehow there's somebody that placed some faith in your heart that brought you here.
Right.
And what's that verse from the Gita? For the doubting soul, there's neither happiness in this life nor the next. Isn't that true? You like riddled by doubts, even so many things can be presented to you. Almost people like they want to not trust because the world has been so untrustworthy, and those people suffer tremendously. They want to find trust, but almost like they're sabotaging themselves not to trust. And they don't find happiness in this life because you can always doubt everything. Why not just doubt your doubts?
Yeah, you can do that too.
Doubt your doubts. They're not happy in this life, and they're not happy in the next life. Okay.
And so, and even in the same, context here, Kapil Dev is speaking to Devahuti, and he's giving her such incredibly clear instructions. But if she's got no faith in him, no trust in him, then she's not going to embrace him with the same kind of Tivrena Bhakti Yoga, without the same kind of intensity, without the same type of one-pointed focus,
I've had friends that could have got into Bhakti years ago, but there was just, I don't know if it's because they didn't want to, regulate their senses, or they were just so overwhelmed by doubts of everything. No, there was nothing you could say. Right. It was just like, well, what about this? What about this? You could do that with your whole life. Why am I going to go to university? How do I know I'm going to get a job? Right. You could just doubt everything.
You can.
And even though that's why I say it's important to make a list of things in Bhakti that you know. You don't know Krishna's a blue cowherd boy. I don't know that. I don't know there's a planet called Goloka, the planet of the cows. I don't know in Vaikuntha everybody's got forearms. I don't know that. I don't know Ganga's a river and a being. I know she's a river, but I don't know it's falling from the spiritual realm. I don't know that. What do I know? That is an important little homework. Write down everything you know. I know I should control my senses. I know when my mind's out of control, I can't be peaceful. I can't be successful. I know that mantra meditation has an effect on me. I know I feel great when I'm in a kirtan. I know that I should treat every living entity with dignity, love, and respect. I know that I shouldn't kill animals. I don't need to kill animals. There's certain things I know that I don't have to throw out the entire. And from that things that I know, I can take little steps forward. And I think it's safe to say that you and I, we didn't know so much when we got into Bhakti, but we had some initial faith. Someone's touched our heart. Someone planted some seed. We saw somebody living by an example that was much better than our example of what we've been doing with our life. And we took a small step forward. And after so many steps, things start to get proved to us. Like we start to think, now what I didn't understand when I was 24, 22, now that completely makes sense. Isn't that true?
Just look at the verse. You're just connecting here.
What?
One has to become faithful by practicing the controlling process of the yoga system.
This is all in me. It's in me.
It's
the guru within. Just came out.
In other words, okay, maybe you have some doubts. Begin to practice the controlling process. Well, I don't feel like control. Okay, well then you're never going to have your doubts addressed, right? But so everything you're saying is very relevant. And just the one point that I again want to circle here is that the object of meditation is now being delivered. What is that object? Shravanam Kirtanam, right? Hearing and chanting,
right?
About Krishna. He says about me, right? So he's saying that's where we want your meditation to be. This is going to be the most potent, powerful form of yoga practice, is to bring your mind to me through the processes of Shravanam and Kirtanam, hearing and chanting. Okay? Great.
Those are by the way, those are the first two of the 9 practices of Bhakti. Hearing and chanting, and the next one, Vishnu Smartam, remembering Vishnu. These are the most popular ways of going right to Bhakti, hearing and chanting. That's what we're doing right now. Kaustubha's chanting, and I'm hearing.
And vice versa.
Until I said that, then I was chanting.
Then
you were hearing.
It goes back. It works that way. And I think some commentators, and even perhaps in this commentary, we can look later, that also could be understood as indicating all 9 processes. right? Like
Right.
the hearing chant, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smarnam, Archanam.
Say it.
Vandanam.
Say all 9. Mara, you can
Shravanam,
put them on the
Kirtanam,
board.
Vishnu
Let's see if Mara
Smarnam.
even. Wait. Let's see if Mara knows them.
Mara.
She's been around playing this game for a while. I want
won't get
all
them.
9 processes of bhakti, Mara.
I don't know if I'll get them in the right order. Shravanam,
okay.
Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Sevanam.
Yeah.
Archanam.
Yeah.
The last one is giving your very breath. Pranayan.
No.
Atmanavedam, we'll give you that one.
We'll give you that.
All right. I'm missing 2 still. No, I'm missing 3.
Dasyam Sakyam.
Dasyam,
No,
Sakyam.
you're missing 3.
Oh, those are easy.
Those are
There's
easy.
one more. I knew those.
Did you get
Awesome.
Smarnam?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
she got that one. All right, Kaustubha, tell us.
Archanam,
Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smarnam. Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanavedam. What is it? Now I'm messing it up.
Here I go. Must I step in here?
Yeah.
Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smartam. Dasyam Sakyam. Archanam.
Vandanam.
Vandanam. Danam.
Vandanam.
Atmanavedanam.
Yeah, that was really bad.
I missed one too.
Didn't get
Mara, research that one. We'll get back to it.
Sorry.
We're all failing ridiculously. Where's Nityananda Chandra when you need
Shravanam,
him?
Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smartam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanavedam. There we go.
Yeah.
I just had to throw it into the actual verse, right?
Okay. Now
Shravanam,
everyone's like,
Kirtanam, Vishnu.
thanks for speaking Greek. What does that mean?
So hearing, chanting, remembering, which in a sense means like meditating, right?
Like
about.
we go to bed at night, we think of Krishna. That's Vishnu Smaranam.
Let's clarify something here. Let's talk a little bit about the difference between karma yoga and bhakti yoga, because this will you will better understand what we're talking about here when we get into that. All right.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you hear karma yoga and bhakti yoga described, it sounds like almost the same thing, right? Karma yoga, okay, I'm going to offer all of my activities up to God, right? Like I'll become a servant and so on. So why is that necessarily different from bhakti? It's not necessarily different. And in one sense, the practices of bhakti yoga could be considered karma yoga if they're practiced in a particular way. But the practices of karma yoga are not necessarily bhakti yoga. And that means that the karma yoga recognizes that I'm not this body, right? That I'm the spark of spiritual energy within, that through the misidentification of myself, the soul with the mind and body, I'm moving through this world under the illusion that I'll be satisfied by satisfying the mind and body. And this endeavor is getting me trapped in a cycle of karma, where all my activities bring reactions to me, and these reactions bind me. And through these reactions, I'm born again and again in different forms according to my karma. Karma yoga says, I recognize all that. And so now what I'm going to do is, what's bound me in all of this work that I've been doing, all of my behaviors and my actions, what's been binding me is, the root in there is that I see this all for me. Like, in other words, I do these activities to try to gain some personal, in one sense, selfish goal out of the work. I could do the same exact work, but do it with a different intention that's been illuminated by knowledge that I'm not this body, that I'm a spirit, and I could work in this world and even make my work an offering to God. And this way, I'll get no reactions. I won't become bound. Okay. But bhakti yoga means I am directly cultivating love for God, right? My lifestyle may be very similar, and a lot of my conceptions may be very similar, but there's a very important difference, is that my goal is to develop Krishna prema, develop pure love for God. And so therefore, there are activities of pure bhakti that a karma yogi may not even touch. And those are Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasit, these
main
9,
thing.
right?
The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing.
So when we talk about hearing and chanting, Shravanam and Kirtanam, it means I'm hearing Bhagavatam, right? In similar narrations, I'm hearing the glories, the pastimes, the qualities, the beauty of the form of God, and it's bringing my mind to that particular meditation, which a karma yogi may not have developed a particular interest in. That's going directly. That's direct bhakti. Kirtanam, right? I'm chanting the names of God. Karma yogi may not do that, but in bhakti yoga, that's fundamental, right? Through chanting God's names, I'm bringing my mind to God. I'm associating directly with God. I'm gradually, step by step, developing love for God. So this, hopefully this will help us understand the difference between karma yoga and bhakti yoga. And so here, these activities of, for Devahuti, she's saying, explain to me about the whole yoga system. And Cardamom and Kapil Dev is saying, here's your focus in meditation, hearing and chanting about me. Okay, hear and chant about God, hear and chant about Krishna. But now let me give you the yogic background, the yogic lifestyle that any yogi might do that's going to help facilitate the depth of your meditation on the object that is clearly a bhakti yoga object of meditation. That make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
You make lots of sense. Okay, text 7.
Text 7. So now here comes those yogic instructions that are going to help facilitate this meditation.
In executing bhakti or devotional service, one has to see every living entity equally.
Boom.
Sounds easy, right? No, not easy. Not easy. Because there's certain people I like. I can see you guys equally. And there's like these people that are like horrific by their behavior. Then there's like things I like horses, I like cows, I like little bunny rabbits. Then there's like beastly animals that I can't stand. Very, worms. I'm not a worm fan personally. Like mean, vicious snakes, not fans of those. Bugs, wasps. They almost seem like, devilish bees. There's certain animals I don't want to give respect to. Why? Because I hate their bodies. Doesn't that sound crazy? But it's true. But I have to practice this. Text 7, in executing devotional service, one has to see every living entity equally, without enmity towards anyone, yet without intimate connections with anyone. Oop, here we go. One has to observe celibacy, be grave, and execute his eternal activities, offering the results to the personality of Godhead. So celibacy, obviously, in your studentship, and then the idea is that once I go to find my senses through and try to enjoy my senses through a sense object, I become convinced that I am that body. This is that's the real issue. I could become convinced that I'm a man, right? We talk about celibacy, and people can't do it. There's ways to regulate it.
Well, actually, in the commentary to this verse, Srila Prabhupada defines celibacy in a way that's different than he does at other times.
Do tell.
He says, a devotee should observe the vow of celibacy. Celibacy does not necessitate that one be absolutely free of sex life. Satisfaction with one's wife, or husband for that matter, is also permitted under the vow of celibacy.
All right.
Okay, sometimes he gives it more strict, but here he kind of like opens up that door a little bit for people.
I go with this verse, actually.
I'll take this. Yeah.
I'll take this definition. The idea is
it's a control.
Whatever's taking us off our path, if we feel like we regulate it. All right.
Now there's another nice section of this commentary I wanted to read to you, Prabhu. You ready?
Please.
And so this is getting back to the just basic fundamental spiritual knowledge. This is the knowledge that changes everything. This is where you go from religion to spirituality. This is the panacea for all the world's problems. It's spiritual knowledge.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Well, so it started with what you were saying about, you have to see everyone equally. What did it say? In executing devotional service, one has to see every living entity equally, without enmity towards anyone, or without intimate connections with anyone. And here the terms being used are for without enmity is nirvairena. And without intimate connections is aprasangataha. Now I think what it's really conveying, because again, at the very beginning of Bhagavatam, in the first canto, Prabhupada expressed, this isn't my original language, and so on. So when it says without intimate connections, because we just started this whole day off talking about how you need to be intimately connected with someone in bhakti, So what that means is without enmity or without intimate connections. It means without aversion or without attachment, right? Like as I move through this world, I'm not feeling based on, externals, feeling like you were saying, I like horses and I like cows and I like bunny rabbits, but I don't like bugs and snakes.
Don't like
and
wasps.
So on, right? So like, yeah, for a yogi,
Crabs.
they're always seeing the
Ticks.
soul, and they're understanding that all of us are passing through all of these bodies. So I'm relating to everyone with a sense of equality. That doesn't mean that there aren't particular people that I have intimate relationships with, but it means that I have this kind of, the term is samadarshana, right? I have this kind of equal vision. So this is what Prabhupada writes. He says, a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who seriously engages in devotional service, tivrena bhakti yogena, right?
Yeah.
Is equal to all living entities. There are various species of living entities, but a devotee does not see the outward covering. They see the inner soul inhabiting the body. Because
it's a tall order, my friend.
But this
when
is
you
what
live upstate
human life
and there are
is
these
meant
ticks with Lyme disease, that's a
for.
tall
Love
order.
The tick.
I kill them, man. I kill the ticks.
Love.
I hate to admit it, but if you've ever seen Lyme,
okay, just enough of that. I got it. You're fearful of Lyme disease, because each and every soul is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They do not see any difference. That is the vision of the learned devotee. As explained in Bhagavad Gita, a devotee or learned sage does not see any difference between a learned brahmana, a very refined person, a dog, an elephant, or a cow, because they know that the body is the outer covering only, and that the soul is actually part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Now, you said it's a tall order, cultivating that vision.
yeah,
I agree with you. But I also want to say this. If on a daily basis, if every day we are not consciously cultivating this vision, then there's something lacking in the intensity of our practice.
Well, I think even in the, Jamie Stafford, who lives upstate too, she wrote in on the message board right now and just said, I kill ticks too. But it's like, I think everybody who lives upstate, we know somebody who's suffering from Lyme disease, if it's not one of our own children, or have gotten over it ourselves, we can wipe you out for like a year, if not more. But that being said, I think I've definitely changed as a human of like trying to be sensitive to life, even ugly life or toxic life. And
you've brought the question to like a question of like how this applies dharmically and so on. Like, in other words, is it adharmic to kill a tick that could cause a serious disease? Yeah. Okay, let's set aside questions like that. I'm not saying that there's no nuance to how we apply dharma. But what I'm saying is, regardless of that, there may be a sadhu that won't kill a tick, right? And there may be a sadhu that does kill a tick. The nuances of that dharma we're setting aside for a moment.
Okay.
And let's just.
The idea is to see that this is a living, even an ugly tick, a poisonous, toxic tick. They're struggling to survive. They just want to eat something. They just want some blood to suck. They're not doing anything bad. In the same way I like maple syrup, they like blood. Big deal. I get it. They're suffering. They just want to make babies. They want to make babies. They want to go to bed at night. They want to, they want a little recreation, perhaps. And they want to run in fear. They're just like Mara, these ticks.
It's like all of us. And so, but even just on a more practical level, that like on a daily basis, it's the outer shape of the body. That's one thing. And how that applies to us, how that applies to issues like racism or misogyny or these things. That's part of it. But how we relate to every individual, can I relate in a loving way to every individual? Or do I bear a sense of animosity or a sense of, a sense of attraction or a sense of aversion?
Right.
As I move through the world for different, that one's hot, that one's not, that one's cool, that one's not, whatever it might be.
Right.
As we move through the world and these thoughts are passing through our head, we should try to be checking them, try to be transcending them. I don't know, maybe you could, I don't know what you're reading now, Raghunath, but
Mara wrote me a private message that said, #ticks are just like Mara.
All right.
That's one of our that's my t-shirt I'm wearing. That's my neck tattoo, Mara. Sorry, Kaustubha. Go on.
No, you go on.
Ticks are just like Mara. Okay, that's sort of like that's sort of like an end statement. That's sort of like the finale. Okay. I'm sorry. Get mad at Mara for that one. She sent it to me. I was just smiling.
Sorry, it was my fault.
Anyway, why don't you just keep reading?
Raghu.
All right. Well, all right. Traveling on here. Oh boy.
We haven't finished this text yet.
Okay. The text itself.
Oh, maybe we did.
No,
maybe we did. Text
we
7.
did. We
We're
did.
on text 8.
We're in text 8. For his income, a devotee should be satisfied with what he earns without great difficulty. Okay. He should not eat. I'm just trying to think of like, how does that apply in my life? Okay.
Oh, are you kidding me? This stuff is so relevant
To my life?
To everyone's life. In other words, again, what these verses, what we talk about a lot is we're going to read a whole list here from text. Text 6 gave us the object of meditation, which was hearing and chanting about God. Text 7 through 10 are going to give us the practices, in order to facilitate that. But if we want to boil all of the things that are going to be listed here down to 2, I would say it's kindness and simplicity. Right? Kindness and simplicity.
Yep.
So simplicity has a lot to do with, like, in other words, if I'm endeavoring intensely, if I'm going to be able to fix my mind on a particular meditation, right, like a spiritual meditation,
right,
I'm going to have to invest a lot of energy to do that. Right. And if I'm investing it in other directions, like, and we find that this is the way that things work, is once you start to, like, this is where, like, the stories, like the kind of fable kind of spiritual stories come along, right? Like about the yogi who got the cat to keep away the mouse. Then you got to get a cow to give milk to the cat.
Right. He swallowed the cat to eat the
just,
dog. He swallowed the cow to eat the cat. He swallowed the dog. I don't know why he swallowed a fly. That one?
I don't know about that one, but in other words, we tend to, once we dip our feet a little bit into like material pursuits, and then we find that it leads to more. Maybe if I just got a car, now I got to pay for the insurance. Now I got to pay for the upkeep. Now I got to pay for the fuel. Now I got to pay for it, and it's just the world becomes more and more entangling. So the yogi is always trying to simplify. Right? That way I'll be able to stay focused.
I just read a great quote on that.
Did you?
Yeah, I can't remember it now. I should have saved it for the show. All right,
you got it?
No. There's something about like something to be, just to live a simple life is very, is the way to be happy in this world. The problem is it's very difficult to be simple. Something like that. Something like it's difficult to be simple. You have to.
It is for us.
The way yeah. We're always trying to, we are, for the most part, devotees, we're trying to keep it simple as much as possible. We're trying to keep the main thing.
But where one place where the rubber hits the road in a very important way is how you make your money. Right? Yeah. We're hitting on the things, right? Celibacy, how you deal with life, you're sexually, that's going to be a big deal, and whether how effectively you're going to practice yoga. So that was mentioned, right? How you relate to other human beings, that's going to be important. How you make your money, that's going to be important. So all these things are being listed.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right.
So text 8.
Let's dive back into the pot of nectar.
Yeah.
For his income, a devotee should be satisfied with what he earns without great difficulty. He should not eat more than is necessary.
Okay, another thing, how you eat.
Right at me. He should live in a secluded place and and always be thoughtful, peaceful, friendly, and compassionate and self-realized.
There's all that kindness, thoughtful, peaceful, friendly.
I've been not that way the last 2 days.
Me too. Really?
No, that's not true. I've actually been losing my cool. Ask Mara. I've been in fights, arguments where I feel like I've lost my spiritual piety in the last 2 days. Like any sukriti, any piety I've gained like from years of chanting, I just like lost it in 2 days of losing my cool.
Okay, let's try to build it back.
Wait a second. You don't live in, what does this mean? You don't live in, what does it say? What? Secluded place? You live in New York City. What's your answer to that? Mr. Wisdom?
Guilty. No, well, I think I'd be interested to read more commentaries on this and see what Srila Prabhupada. Let's see. I'll say this, and we can look in the commentary. But when Srila Prabhupada, one thing is going to, does it say in this verse or is it the next one?
Keep your door locked. That could be a secluded place.
Well, like being silent is going to be mentioned here, right?
Right. Yeah. I know where you're going with this.
Okay. Where do you think I'm going with it?
Silent means you don't talk about anything. Oh, me and Bunky have this great idea.
Yeah.
You know how they do Vipassana, where you just don't talk?
Yeah.
I was like, he was like, you should do this. It'll be great for you. I was like, I can't do it. I've got to chant 16 rounds. And they don't let you chant in the Buddhist Vipassana. We should do a Krishna. This is what I'm going to do. Next teacher training. A Krishna Vipassana, a Bhakti Vipassana, where all you can do is chant or talk about Krishna, nothing else for the whole day.
That's really like what our whole life is supposed to be.
That's our whole philosophy in one sense. Yeah. I mean, once you throw a few kids in the mix and got to go to soccer on Saturdays, that's changes things up.
Right, and therefore,
Hare Krishna.
Therefore, all the simplicity is being.
When I say Hare Krishna, that means kick it at the goalie. Okay.
Yeah. So I would say secluded place could be understood as two ways we could interpret this. One is that this is instruction for a certain type of yogi that will live in a secluded life, a certain type of meditator, or another way to say it is that there's a sense of rather than isolating oneself, you're insulating yourself.
I like that. Isolating, not insulating.
Right.
Or insulating, not isolating. Like, for example, Kaustubha, it's not like you're hanging out with a bunch of materialists. Yeah. Your friends are all intimate devotees that you share your heart with, that you feel connected with, that you're their teacher or you're a student of them or they're your peers. That's a type of like insulation, and it's a type of solitude.
It's a type of there you go. There's a type of solitude. It's a type of seclusion. It's a
type of seclusion.
I feel like I'm in an ashram, right? And the majority of people that I have to connect with in the day are going to be people that I would want in my ashram, like people.
Yeah, man. I've completely worked my life that way pretty much too.
Yeah.
That the people are very close to me or around me all the time. Whenever I'm talking on the phone, it's to somebody. I'm like, Harry Ball, it's nice.
And if I had to work outside of that, I'm fortunate I don't have to earn a living outside of that, ring of spirituality or whatever. But if I did, still I could go out of that ring with insulation, right?
Yeah.
With the insulate. And how do you insulate? All the things that we talk about every day, right? Waking up early, hearing Bhagavatam, chanting, associating with the right people, and reading.
And
Gita,
we talk about it, but it's all true. It's all true.
It's all
real. It's all true.
Yeah. So that would be my answer. That would be,
good answer.
It's always I've shared in the past. I've shared that example of that there was once when I was kind of a new monk, and another new monk came around, and this was a person that had a background that was like more connected to these kind of practices, like they were into Mauna Vrata, they were into practicing silence, and they were into fasting. Right. And so this person asked my guru, it's like, this is my background, and I feel the benefit of these practices. They're, and now I'm kind of like in a new type of ashram where these particular practices aren't emphasized, and honestly, like they're a little bit like people are kind of steering me away from them. But still, I have kind of like I feel a need for them. What do I do? And so my guru said something similar to what Bunky said in terms of practicing silence. When you sit down, every day you sit down for 2 hours to meditate on the holy name, to chant these names. When you do that, don't talk to anyone else, not one other word, just strictly that. And he said, as far as fasting goes, on our fasting days on Ekadashi, fast entirely, And so he found a way to accommodate. It's nice, I'll share another thing with you. Once,
do tell.
Well, by the way, something interesting's happened in New York City, is that the Broome Street
New York City
Temple,
Marathon.
Well, that happened yesterday, but the Broome Street Temple is reopening at its original location in Broome Street.
Woo. Very good.
So the Ganesh, the Ganesh, it used to be that there was a Ganesh temple there, and then I had Radha Damodar, who are right now here in my screen.
Are you going to bring them back?
I'm not going to bring them back. No,
okay.
They're too deeply situated in our home. But maybe we could put a nice photo of them or something like that in there. But the Ganesh temple will be reestablished there. But why was I bringing that up? What were we talking about?
I don't know. I can't
where are we?
I can't stay in a straight line. You know that.
So in that temple was kind of like two traditions, kind of like operating in the same place, right? There's my, Bhakti Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition alongside like a more, let's say, smarta version, tradition of Ganesh worship.
If those don't know what Kaustubha is talking about, a very big Ashtanga yoga studio in New York City, maybe the biggest, it was like a temple also. And Eddie had a Ganeshji, and he'd do Ganesh puja there. Eddie Stern's been a guest on our show. He's a great guy, old friend of ours. And Kaustubha was doing puja to Radha Damodar. It was like doing yoga in a temple. It was incredibly cool.
Temple, yeah.
Gorgeous. We'd have kirtans there. Then Kaustubha had this whole phase of his life where he'd make South Indian goodies for breakfast for people.
I cooked in this little closet.
He cooked in a closet, and you could do your yoga, and then you could have what did you make? Idlis or?
One day I would make idli. The next day I'd make khichdi. I think I also made upma. Those were the three kind of like. But I also cooked for like weekly pujas and all that kind of stuff too. So I was cooking there, like I was the head cook in that. If you want to find out more about that, you go back and find, I don't know what episode it was, but I think it was from like June of
YouTube search Eddie Stern Wisdom Sages, right?
Well, yeah, or just go to our own thing and find the one where it's Mike D and Eddie. We interviewed them together and we talked about the Broome Street Temple.
That's right.
But so my point,
anyway, let's go on.
Yeah, my point is that in order for the installations that took place in the temple, for a lot of the major rituals, Eddie brought in a priest named Ramchandra, who was like immensely qualified in ritual, so much so that as a young man, he was trained by the Shankaracharya of Kanchipuram, right? In other words, like super high level,
right?
Hindu priest, from a different tradition than I was from. And when he was here, he was like incredibly strict. He wouldn't let anyone touch his plate. Nobody, but he has so much respect for Srila Prabhupada and his followers that he allowed me to do all the things that he allowed me to cook for him. He allowed me to, serve him in different ways. He stayed in my home and so on. He really had, he saw this is real and this is genuine. And
I think you're the real deal, Prabhu.
Not me. It's not my credit. It's really a credit to Srila Prabhupada and how he didn't compromise with what he. Sometimes this stuff sounds a little heavy or strict, but Prabhupada didn't compromise,
Right.
You used to have that cover of your record, right? It was like, no compromising.
That was the name of one of our singles, No Compromise.
Yeah. And so one time during one of these rituals, he was
Oh, your mic in the middle of the whole punchline. In the middle, right before the takeaways, his mic has fallen away.
There it goes. It's back.
Okay.
So
we call that pulling a Raghunath.
It's so sensitive. So he was putting something on everyone's forehead, as part of the ritual.
Right.
And he came up to me, and when he did it, he was so sensitive in terms of like my own practice that he came up to me and then he said, "If your dharma permits." Like that. He said, in other words, if I practice in another way, maybe I don't fully embrace what you're about to do. So he said that, like, if your dharma permits.
Oh,
and now I don't even remember how we got started.
What were we talking about?
Well, yeah, where did we have Mara? How did we get here? We're talking about dharma and sensitivity.
Wind us back, Mara.
And two traditions coexist.
Oh yeah. So that practice of Mona Vrata. Here's a way that you could take something that's prominent in one tradition and practice it in a tradition where it's not so prominent, but in a way that's completely in harmony with it, right? Practice Mona Vrata by not talking to anyone when you chant your japa. Taking something from another dharmic path, like, say, fasting, and with a certain sensitivity or clarity, being able to take that, but practice it in another lineage, in another path, where that particular practice isn't emphasized, but a way to make it fit in nicely with that particular dharma. It was. I found that interesting.
You're interesting.
Yeah.
Period.
I think we're out of time.
You're interesting and
way out of time. We're way over time.
We're over time, Mara. Well, come on. You got to wave a flag or something like they do at the New Lebanon Speedway. Upstate jokes. Okay, Mara. Takeaways. Right, and let's start with Mara is like a tick. How about that one?
All right.
Ticks are just like me. If you want to go deep in bhakti, you need to open up your heart and have faith and trust.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
We need correction for our growth.
Yep.
Doubt your doubts.
Doubt your doubts.
A certain prescribed lifestyle helps to focus the mind.
Yes.
Make a list of what you know to safeguard against future doubts.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to talk deeper about it. I thought that was such a great point. Maybe we can start there tomorrow.
Make a
if you can
list.
remind us.
That's a tattoo. Make a
No,
list.
because you said, what do you know?
What do you know?
Let's start there, because I think there are three things. What you know. Let's talk about it tomorrow. I'd like to.
Okay, that's a good one. It's a good one. It's a good way to go. Because sometimes people, they get a doubt and they throw everything out with a doubt.
Well, what do I know?
What do you know?
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Avoid aversion and attachment to cultivate equal vision. Kindness and simplicity. And insulate, don't isolate.
Boom.
Insulate, don't isolate. How about kind people are my kind of people?
Oh, nice. That's
you know why I got that? Because
t-shirt
Funky
right
gave me a mug that says that.
Oh, really? There you go.
Perfect timing. Thanks everybody for joining us. Look, it's Jai Shri from Kabacha Designs is here.
Oh,
She joined us from California Chant Camp. We're all going to be there. This whole Zoom crew is going to be there next year for California Chant Camp. We're all excited about that. Oh, thanks everybody. What a sweet
what's
episode.
Henry holding up to the screen?
I don't know, Henry. What do you got there?
What's Henry up to? Mara?
He's a numismatic coin collector. It could be a coin.
What was that?
Do that again, Henry.
Something
You
to
got you in
share with
dance
the class? Oh, it's a book.
What?
But your background screen is making it like
Yeah, your
disappear on
background
us.
screen is making it disappear.
You bring it back a little.
Pull it back. Pull it back.
Back. Or too
No,
far
hold it
back.
up. Hold it up.
Hold it
then
up.
Pull it back.
Now go back.
Just pull it back a little bit more.
I
think it's the Radha Damodar Vilas.
It's Radha Damodar Vilas book.
It's Radha Damodar Vilas, but it looks like you're in the Invisible Man holding
It's
the
just your
invisible
hand
book
and
right
a tree
now.
is all we see right now.
Yeah. Yes. So now we know he's not sitting creekside every day listening to us like Huckleberry Finn. Thanks, everybody. If you're getting anything out of this program, please go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/wisdom of the sages. Some of you are contributing. If you want to give more, it helps. Whatever you can do, it's a monthly pledge, and it's welcome and needed. Thank you so much, and we're going to join you tomorrow every day this week. We're looking forward to it. And then I'm going to Texas. I have to take the weekend off in Texas, but we're going to figure that out.
Any sweet baby
We're going to have Driti back. We had to cancel Driti on Sunday because I wasn't feeling well.
Yeah.
But we're going to bring her back for next Sunday.
Oh, sweet. That's great. Okay, everybody. Sweet Baby Krishna, we're going to figure that out. Mara's turning the thumb screw Sweet Baby Krishna this week. Yeah, perhaps. We're going to look into it. But we've been enjoying it, and Kartik is still going. I finished 15 chapters of the Gita, Kaustubha.
That's great.
I know, it was great. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. You know what I want to do now? I want to read the Gita again. I want to read the Gita again.
Do it again.
We read the chapter a day, Mara. Every day we should read a chapter.
Okay.
Mara's like, all right, whatever.
Is there Sweet Baby tonight?
No, tonight we can't do it.
Oh, because you're traveling.
I'm traveling. All right, everybody.